Hello, great people. Nigerians are reacting to the allegation that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have earmarked 500 billion naira to bribe northern clerics to support his 2027 re-election ambition. Yes, you heard me right. 500 billion naira, not million. 500 billion just for northern clerics, not clerics all around Nigeria. Just for clerics in the north and also the traditional rulers as well, to share 500 billion naira allegedly being offered them by the president to support his 2027 re-election campaign. Who spilled the beans? It is an Islamic cleric in the north that exposed the matter, because he said he opted out, and I will be reading some of the statement of that northern Islamic cleric. I will be reading it out to you. The transcript of his statement, I will be reading it out to you. Look at this headline. Islamic preacher alleges Tinubu government plans 500 billion bribe for northern clerics, says he declined. I will read some of the transcribed statement of that cleric. I will read it out to you because he spoke in the Hausa or Fulani language, and I know that not many of you understand that language. So I will be reading some of what he said that have been translated to English language. I will be reading it to you. Then we'll be talking about the Tinubu government, and I will also be painting a picture between God, man, and Nigerian politician. They will be dissecting all the associated issues. This particular amount, what can it be used for? I will also be giving you a picture of what 500 billion naira can do in Nigeria today, and the Tinubu government have allegedly failed to look in that direction. We'll be doing all this, cutting through the noise on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug, Dr. Omosholadeji. You they watch me right now, but you never subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe, turn on your notification button, so that as I'm bringing all these stories, analysis, and updates, it will be getting to you real time. And if you are watching me, help me like this video. Give me a like, my dear people. First, before I tell you about what this particular 500 billion naira that have been allegedly earmarked for the president re-election campaign in the north to bribe the cleric, before I tell you what that particular amount can do in Nigeria today, in the health sector, in the education, and some in terms of infrastructure provision, let me read to you some of what that imam, what he said. Let me give you some quote in what he said. According to the imam, they invited me to join the campaign and project. They said whoever will lead the project will get 5% of the 500 billion naira. They told me, we know you won't do such things, but because of the circumstances and the situation, we are inviting you to take the lead, and so on and so forth. I rejected the offer and warned them never to bring such a proposal to me again. They now said I should let them call the pastor, and so I could speak to him. I said no, I'm not and can't be part of the project. 5% of 500 billion naira is 25 billion. This is just from the part of the Muslims. The Christians too, we have theirs. I'm talking from experience. You see any cleric being controversial and afraid to say the truth, there must be an exchange between them and government in power. I will not be tired of giving instances. Voting too is an act of worship, and clerics should endeavor to tell electorate what to do and what they need to, and protect our dignity at all costs. That is according to the man when he was given that explosive revelation of how they tried to bribe him. Now, I haven't reviewed that to you. Let me now tell you what 500 billion naira can achieve in Nigeria of today. And some Nigerians have put up like a graphic image stating what 500 billion naira can achieve in Nigeria of today. And if you look at it well, you will see that they said in Nigeria 2026, 500 billion naira would construct 500 kilometers of modern highways. Take note, 500 kilometers of modern highways, 350 kilometers of standard gauge railway. Would you not prefer to have 500 kilometers of modern highways with street light and everything intact than for that 500 billion naira to go into the hands of a tiny a kind of like a tiny fraction of the population that call themselves religious leaders, and also traditional rulers. That amount will also give us like a 2 gigawatt of solar power farms, two large gas power plants, 200,000 affordable homes, 1,000 new secondary schools, 50 tertiary hospitals, clean water for 10 million people, and nationwide 5G network. Now, this is what I'm not sure of. I don't know whether it is the 500 billion naira that will provide all of these things, or just one of these things. That, okay, it's either it provides 500 kilometers of highways, or 350 kilometers of standard gauge railway, or 2 gigawatt of solar panel power farms. So I don't know whether it is the 500 billion that they are projecting that it will provide all this, or one of these. That is what I am not clear about. Now, let us look into all this. First, I promise to paint you a picture of the relationship between man, God, and politicians. And if you have watched this video to this level, I would implore you to listen to me attentively. This is the time to listen to me so that you will get what I'm about to say. You see, sometimes I wonder if there is God. The reason why I say so is that some of the atrocities that is going on in earth at the moment, and the way people use the name of God to lie, sometimes you can't help but imagine that, is there truly God? I believe that God exists, but sometimes there are some circumstances that will make you to even want to question the existence of that God itself, because you may want to imagine that in this age and time, for you to be a cleric, whether you are a imam, whether you are a pastor, God must have called you, right? Because they call you man of God. That means that God called you. Now, if God have called you, then God have called you as a man to kind of like propagate the works of his ministry, if I can put it that way. And you, a mere mortal like me, a mere man, you are now colluding with politicians to send the wrong message. Politicians that have failed to provide electricity, politicians that have failed to provide amenities, politicians that have failed to provide qualitative health care for our people. You, a man of God that is supposed to be on the path of justice and righteousness, you fail to be on the path of justice and righteousness. You now decide to collude with politicians that are sinners, politicians that have ruined Nigeria to where it is today, politicians that have stealed the nation dry, politicians that have failed to fulfill the promise that they made to Nigerians. You now collude with them, collect money, and you now convince the Nigerians that are suffering that they should go ahead and vote for that politicians. Then you may want to imagine that, God, if you exist, then you must be too gentle. Because I can imagine that, why would people be lying in your name like this? Why would people be committing a lot of fraud and atrocities in your name? Why would people be deceiving? Why would people that say they are man of God, why would they be deceiving the congregation in your name? And you know that at the end of the day, if they have their way, the people that are worshiping you in spirit and in truth, the people that are praying to you 5 times a day, they will eventually suffer. And you sit down in heaven or in a journal and you are watching them to commit all these atrocities, because all this money is not for free. It is a Greek gift. At the end of the day, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if he spends this money and he gets back into office, definitely he will see it in million folds. And that is why, politics and election, voting, anything that has to do with democracy must not be monetized. If not, it has become a transaction. So I just hope that God will deal with them. We don't wait for judgment day. God should deal with these men of God, these alfas, Islamic cleric, pastors. God should deal with them at the right time, just so that his people that are worshiping him in spirit and in truth would not suffer. But in all of this, let us look at it. Let's move away from the pastors. Let's go to Tinubu and other politicians. You want to bribe people allegedly with 500 billion naira. Reason it yourself. What could have been the best bribe that you should have given to the people? If you don't know it, let me tell you. Security would have been the best bribe. Yes, you heard me right. Security for a region ravaged by insecurity. The activities of Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, murder assessment, bandits, Lakurawa, and other terrorist cells, what you can give, the best bribe that you can give to such a region is to provide adequate security. That's one of the best bribe you can give to the people. Another thing, the bribe that you can give to Nigerians is infrastructure. Provide infrastructure for them, something that will make their life comfortable. Provide it for them. That would have been the best bribe. Another thing is employment. We all know that unemployment is at an all-time high in Nigeria. So if you want to bribe people, why not provide employment that the people will benefit from? And if you've done that, then you perhaps don't even need to campaign, because it is the people that will be clamoring that it is either Tinubu or nothing. But when you don't do these things and you now decide to bribe people that we can call them influencers, you give some money to clerics, you give some money to actors, and that's why you will see some Nollywood actors that were condemning Bola Ahmed Tinubu that, oh, they worked for him in 2023. They didn't pay them. Now that some of them have received their paycheck, they are now singing on your mandate we shall stand. And some of them are saying Bola Ahmed Tinubu till 2031. So in all of this, you can see that Nigerians themselves, they are the architect of their own misfortune. What is the best bribe that could have been given to Nigerians? One of them is power. Yes, you heard me right. Electricity. Electricity is one of the best bribes that could have been given to Nigerians, because we all know that the national grid usually collapses often and power in Nigeria is epileptic. So the best bribe that you could have given to Nigerians is power. And you yourself promised Nigerians power. But rather than for you to do all this, you want to cut corners. I just hope that Nigerians can be wise enough that if you have not fulfilled your campaign promise, then they will give you judgment at the polls. That is if their vote will be allowed to count. And that is if Nigerians can be bold enough to stand by their vote. But let us look at this from another angle, away from what could have been the best bribe to Nigerians. Let us look at it from the angle of budget. You will recall that during the budget defense, people in the government, they are saying that money wasn't released to them. The people in the Ministry of Health said that it was only about 36 or 38 million naira that was released to them out of the billions that was budgeted for the Nigerian health sector. Now, this 500 billion naira, imagine you now using it to sort the health issue. Imagine you pumping it into the health sector. You are already president. You have the power of incumbency. Why are you so desperate? And in the history of my lifetime, I've never seen a government that is desperate for re-election like this government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I've never seen a government that start campaigning immediately after the Supreme Court, affirm his election. I've not seen a government that started campaign almost immediately, other than that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I've never seen an incumbent president so desperate to hold on to power like Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in all of this, why should you be desperate if you are doing the right thing? But what I can tell you in all of this is that if it is true that Bola Ahmed Tinubu have allegedly earmarked 500 billion naira to bribe traditional rulers in the north, it further affirms that this government is a government of BLPP. What do I mean by that? Government of BLPP means government of bribery, looting, palliative, and propaganda. Yes, you heard me right. Government of bribery, looting, palliative, and propaganda. If you are not bribing, then some of your officials are looting. If they are not looting, then they are sharing palliative. If they are not sharing palliative, then they are, kind of like disseminating propaganda all over the place. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu should change the narrative that his government will not just be about alleged bribery, looting, palliative, and propaganda. And if Nigerians eventually pay tax, is this what their tax will be used for? Now, let me now go back to the cleric that made the revelation. Let me say something about that cleric. First, I will say that God bless you for this revelation. But then again, hope you won't collect money from another politician. That's another thing that is of concern to me. Hope you won't go and collect from another politician. Hope is not that you rejected Tinubu's money because you are not a Baptist, because you don't like Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But if the politician that you like, maybe it is Obi, maybe it is Atiku, maybe it is Kwakwaso, maybe it is Amechi, if they bring money, you will come collect them. I hope that you would uphold your integrity from now till the end of time. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug, Dr. Omosoladeji. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.